First, it would be to have high expectations. The notion that somehow you can lower expectations and get a better result, we've tried it. We've tried it for more than a generation of time. It doesn't work. We can excuse away why some kids learn and some kids can't, but if we lower the bar across the system, which we have today in our country, we've lowered the bar, we get the result of what we measure too. And so my first advocacy would be build a higher expectation and then organize the entire system around achieving that, starting in the early grades, but building with a goal that children, every child in the state of South Carolina, would be college and or career ready by the time they got to 12th grade, and that they would be motivated to be able to either get a job of high quality and purpose or continue their education. Today we have, in the state of Florida, for example, we have so many standards, and they're so low, they're so shallow, and they're so politically driven that teachers cannot even finish what they're required to teach based on those standards during a given year. And the net result is that we don't develop the kind of critical thinking skills in young people that we need. Better to have higher, fewer, lofty expectations that demand critical thinking skills so that the system moves towards that. In the United States today, there's an effort underway called Common Core Standards, where 45 states have emerged to build these standards. And whether South Carolina plays an important role in that or decides to do it alone, other states are making that effort, it really is not as important as having an aspiration of higher expectations and higher standards and honest assessments to assure that children are gaining those standards. The notion that you're doing a child a favor by passing them along, by dumbing down the curriculum so that little Johnny gets a star on his or her, his paper, and making them feel good, that the organizing principle of schools is feelings rather than the ability to think critically. You're doing somebody a favor is a disaster waiting to happen, a ticking time bomb. If you look at the number of people in prison today, 90% of them don't have a high school diploma. If you look at the juvenile justice system today, some 60 or 70% of kids are functionally illiterate. If you look at any of the things we want less of, there is, sadly, a corollary, which is children were not, the expectations were dumbed down, children were not given the power of knowledge, and their focus became narrower and narrower. They did not see the relevance of education, and the net result is a bad result. And so this country needs to become, if we're going to be the best in the world, we need to benchmark ourselves to the best. And I hope that South Carolina plays a very important role in that regard.